Ladies and gentlemen, let us now listen to a second keynote speech entitled Producing Career-Ready Students with Easily Obtained Technology. But before that, before I call Mr. Tim Bergmeier, allow me to introduce him. Mr. Tim Bergmeier, currently, he's the Director of Global Partnerships in Asia region, located in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. He is managing the process of cooperative work-based learning within the education sector using a centralized management solution. In 2017, he was the Director of InPlace Software Asia, where InPlace is the world leader in work-based learning solutions for higher education and large employers. Tim build, own, and deploy solutions that improve operational efficiency and produces valuable big data to allow fabulous management reporting capabilities. And please join me to invite Mr. Tim Bergmeier to deliver his keynote speech. Please welcome, dipersilakan.
Thanks. Whoa, what a big room. Okay. Just give me 1 second. Sorry, I'm not prepared just yet. Just hang on just a second. Sorry. I should have prepared this earlier. Jeez. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. Wow, that's a big room. Sorry, I'm just a little bit nervous. Just give me a minute. Just hang on a second. Just make sure this works. Yeah, that's working. I should have prepared this a lot earlier. Gee, sorry. What? Is this mine? No, that's not mine there. That's okay. Okay. I had someone else preparing some stuff for me, but they've not turned up, so just wait a second, sorry. Good morning, everyone. Welcome here to this fabulous TVET event. Thank you very much for coming. Hope you're enjoying the day. What a great day it's going to be. Which Tim did you prefer? Did you prefer the Tim who was unprepared, who was clearly not ready to provide you with what you wanted today? It was an awkward situation. I saw a few of you reaching your phone, going, oh no, calling your colleagues, going, I've got half an hour of this, and it's not going to be fun. And then you have the second Tim who's obviously prepared and ready to provide you with what you required. And that preparation is the key. So I just want you to hold that thought just for a moment. And I'm just going to ask around the room. I presume everyone here is TVET. So I just want to ask around the room to start with. What's one of the key reasons that we all do what we do? What's one of the key reasons we get out of bed in the morning to do what we do in TVET? Anyone? Anyone? To teach? Yes. Yes, very good, very good. Anyone else? Salary? Yes, I heard salary. And that's right, we all get out of bed to make sure that we can feed our families. I would challenge that one of the key reasons for us to be doing what we're doing is to be producing career-ready students. And if we're not doing that, and if we're not preparing students for the rest of their lives while they're under your care, then that minute and a half you had to endure at the start of this session elongates for days, weeks, months, and even years of those students being in an environment where they're not prepared. And more importantly, our employers are having to consume these students who are unprepared and clearly not ready to provide us as a student And so there becomes this fractious period of time that you just felt for that minute and a half, and that continues for a long period of time. And so our obligation to our students and our employers is to make sure that the students, when they're leaving your care, they are ready to take the next step. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tim Bergmeier. I'm Director of In-Place Software, and we have software that we sell around the world for work-based learning and career-based learning and employability. Very great to be here today, and looking forward to the content, not only for myself, but also looking forward to hearing a lot of the content and meeting up with you today. It's going to be based a lot about technology and really about technology that's here and now. Technology that we can all say at the end of our day, go home to our children and say, hey, look what I use today. I use technology to fill my day. Because they're coming back to you all day and telling you that, so let's take them back and show them a little bit. So first of all, let's just ask around the room, who's wearing a wearable right now? Who's got one? Put your hand in the air. There's one there. 1, 2, yeah, very good, very good. I wear one when I'm running. I'm not wearing one right now, but they're great devices. They know a lot about us. They know a lot more about us than maybe what we think. But there is some value in those, and if you believe what Gartner's research says, by 2020, 40% of us will get some value out of this wearable from our health insurance. Now, 2020 is not too far away. So technology can help us, and if we adopt technology, then there's some value of being able to provide us as a society with some benefits. As a child, I grew up with school teachers of parents, and so every school holidays, we would get into the car and we would go on a journey. And it was a great life. The 2 weeks, maybe the 3 weeks leading up to that holiday, the anxiety levels increased. Because what about the car? Is the car ready to take us to where we need? And we're dictated by this little sticker. It's telling us that 20,000 kilometres we need to service our car. And so your car might be at 19,000 kilometres and you don't want to go over. Don't go over that 20,000. Well, it's too much of a risk, but you definitely don't want to stay under. So when do I get my car serviced? We are dictated by the sticker. However, again, if you believe Gartner's research, in a very short period of time, our cars and our automobiles are going to be telling us when it needs some new oil and when it needs new tyres. And that's going to save, by Gartner's predictions, $1 trillion. That's a significant number, purely for the use of technology. So I'm glass half full. I believe technology is going to benefit us as a society. Personally, professionally, I believe it's going to improve our lives day to day. But today is a technology discussion, so let's not use the term glass half full. I'm battery half full. So I'm battery half full that we can use technology today. And battery is not only just for our personal lives, it's also for our professional lives. And today being an environment where we're in higher education, let's talk a little bit about higher education. What are we preparing our students for? And what about the jobs? The robots are coming, right? The robots are going to take our jobs. Then all the press we're seeing about robots taking the job is probably right. There is a net loss right now in jobs due to AI. But I'm very, very encouraged by what's in the future. I'm really encouraged by what's possible, and I'm really encouraged for our graduates, but not only our graduates. What about our further learners? And what about our continual learning opportunities that we can take advantage of this, and where it can take us as a society again. So the robots are here and they're coming, but they're also going to add some value, and it's going to be exciting. So our education technology, I'm not a futurist. I'm not going to get up and talk to you about what's going to happen in 2030 or 2040, 2025. I'm talking about what we can do here and now to take advantage of some capabilities that are out there today. So first of all, irrespective of whether you're a lecturer or whether you are in front of an audience, does anyone use video to record themselves in front of it? Anyone in the last 12 months use video to record themselves in being in front of an audience, maybe lecturing, so on? We've got 1, 2. That's about right. That's about what I normally see in an audience. Very small numbers. And there's many case studies for you being able to use technology and use video for the benefit of your own self. And it's a great way for self-reflection and to determine how you are teaching. I recorded myself in learning, in coming and preparing today, and it's a great toolkit. But the problem is the hardware, the devices. You could put a big video camera in the corner of the room if you're lecturing, but that's going to be quite intimidating, right? You could have a phone in your hand, not very natural, trying to lecture with your hand up like this. So the standard devices don't make the cut. Called Swivel. And basically, it is a base station that you put your mobile phone on or your iPad, and then you wear a lanyard, and the lanyard is also an audio device, and the base station follows you around the room. And then you have another 1 or 2 devices you can put onto various places, tables and so on. Now, I'm not commercially involved with these guys at all. I saw it at a conference and I thought it would be nice to share with you. I see these things quite a lot and I think, yeah, who would like that? Now, this device is a great mechanism for you to maybe use that as a mechanism to maybe record yourself at your trade. But you can also then use that technology to use things like the flipped classroom. I'm not saying change your whole curriculum around the flipped classroom, but what a great addition to what you're already doing. Recording yourself, recording the content, allowing your students to view that content on their own time, and then they come into the classroom and you reflect and you talk about and you explore what they've learnt on their own time, and then they go back and reflect again. You can't do that with a phone sticking here like this, but you can use it with those little devices. So just another mechanism for you to use technology here and now, and that device is a very primitive use of AI. That device is following you around the room. You can say to your kids, hey, I used AI today. They're only about $700, $700 US, worth a look at. One of my first jobs was in a call centre, and it's a pretty high pressure environment. You're expected to take 50 to 80 phone calls a day. At the end of the day, you come out pretty stressed, but also you've only got about 20 seconds between calls that you have to then take another call. And there's a company who have developed some really interesting tech. It's an immersive experience and it's relating to taking you from a particular state, if you're in a stressed state, to try and take you to maybe a calmed state. And it's using mixed reality to do that. And this is what it feels like. Wake up. Four different emotions that it takes you from into, and they've spent a lot of time. Now, the reason I'm sharing this is that for them to get to this, develop this, they've actually spent about 2.5 years on the psychology behind taking you into those four states of mind. And that extends from colour to audio to psychology, physiology, and animation and so on. So that 2.5 years, it's the only research done of its kind in the world. And they're prepared to share that research with higher education institutes. Because I can imagine one of the toughest things for anyone teaching mixed reality is applying that commercially and having case studies where you're teaching it to apply that commercially. So this company takes you from where you were to, and they measure it where you were and where you get to. They're selling it to call centres because if you get off a really stressful call, go and listen to that for 2 minutes, and then you move to a state so you can move back onto your day job. The reason why I'm stating that is because they're looking for new contributors to their marketplace. And again, I'm not on this payroll. These guys, I met them at a conference, and this is what happens. You basically upload your mood and and they give you all the research. You then get to provide that commercially, and they then commercialise that. You get the value of the research. So if you want to take a photo of that, more than welcome to take a photo of that if you are in need of case studies and so on to use as mechanisms for you to teach technology. One of the reasons we live in Kuala Lumpur is the multicultural experience that we have here, the food and the people and the languages. It's an experience for us that we dearly love. I can imagine in the classroom, a little bit more challenging, right? Lots of languages to deal with. Well, Microsoft have come to the rescue and have provided a capability that's free of charge, free download. You can use this translator, and it's basically transforming your PowerPoint slides from a single language to multi-language capability. And so it learns from you as well, and openly they say it uses the artificial intelligence to learn from your methods and to learn from the way that you speak and the way that you teach. And that can extend not only to the written word, but if you are also recording, then the children or the students can consume that in the language of their choice. Now this is all free of charge, all free download, available to you to be able to go home to your children and say, hey, I used AI today. Thanks, Microsoft. It's great. So I'm battery half full that technology can be used in higher education, in education in general, and that accessibility is here and now. It's available to you right now. Anyone here working on an artificial intelligence project right now? Hands up. Anyone giving direction that we should be working on an artificial intelligence project right now? Yes, I heard yes. Others, few nods. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Zobia. Zobia has a population of 13 million. 29% of the population is 0 to 14 years old, which if you know your populations, that's higher than average. And so as a result, they have a high focus on higher education. so that they can feed the children of tomorrow. Now, Zobia has come out of their civil war, which is the reason why they have a higher population in that age. They come out of their civil war, they're now very well run, they've got funding, and they're investing a lot in higher education. They have polytechnics, they have universities, they have some private universities, and they're attracting more universities as they go. One of the things that Zobia has a high focus on is integration with their industry and providing students with work experience. And they realise that work experience just in year 3 doesn't cut it. So they have a focus on year 1 of 2 weeks, year 2 of 4 weeks, and then year 3 of 12 weeks in a 3-year scenario. And so they invest in that a lot. And I met with Dr. Mantanga, the Minister of Higher Education. Gentleman, nice gentleman. And he told me about some of his aspirations. And he's working on some projects right now. And he said, Tim, we're working on some development activities. It's going to tell us how employable our students is. And I said, you had to use the word AI in there, didn't you, Dr. Mantanga? He said, yes. This is an AI project. Okay, thank you, Dr. Mantanga. And we also have an AI project, AI project to develop continual feedback on how we can improve the curriculum and also our relationships with our employers. So, excellent. That's excellent. We know where we're going. We know where this is going. He said, Tim, we have a problem. I said, yes. Can I interject? Can I predict your problem? I said, you're having trouble with data, aren't you? He said, yes. I said, you're having trouble with identifying and being able to produce the data that feeds into the AI. He said, yes. There's a lot of artificial intelligence definitions out there. I chose this one for no particular reason. Every one of those definitions will have an element of there that will say that. Analysis of data. And it's more than that. It's not just data, it's input data. Input data being data that's continually feeding, not data that comes from begging someone to provide you with a spreadsheet or coming from emails. It's data that is sourced directly from the user and it is fed straight to the AI. And all those people who said that they're working on an AI project, if it's not going so well right now, I'm not going to say you're in good company, but you're in company. Because 85% of projects are failing. AI projects are failing because of that reason, because of that fact. The data is not there. And in fact, the second fact was actually presented to a significant group of people in Silicon Valley only a few months ago. And projects are stalling because of data labeling, data authenticity, data quality, etc. You can't leapfrog and go straight to AI without having an understanding of your operational systems first. And Dr. Mantanga agreed. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Belato region. So Belato region is a region within another country or within a country, it's a population of 1.6 million, and they have a focus on health, higher education. They've digitised. Not because they wanted to digitise, they wanted to bring it all together because they wanted to maximise their capacity. So they identified that having a ward that was supervised, and not having a student in there is a lost opportunity for a student to have a work experience. So they identified to maximise capacity, everyone needed to be digitised and everyone needed to be accessing the same information. And so they're benefiting from that. So there's 4 universities, 300 hospitals, 2,400 nursing students involved in this particular project. The byproduct of everyone logging into a system and everyone gaining the data directly from the user is that just for the process of calling out to the employer to say, hey, how many placements can you offer us? How many students can you take? And then just for the process of then returning back to all the stakeholders, the students and the employer to say, this is the outcome. 35,000 interactions. Those interactions were once emails. And those interactions were once spreadsheets flying around the ether with no control and no understanding of what was happening. Belato region can now, 2 years later, take advantage of any AI aspirations they have. And so Dr. Mantanga had a business problem and went straight to AI and said, AI will fix it. Spent 12 months trying to identify how to do that, and the project has stalled, like 85% of the other projects have stalled. You cannot leapfrog the most important step, which is operationally digitising. If you do, you end up at the same place, because it takes 12 months to implement a system that size, it takes another 12 months to start generating the data. You end up at the same place anyway. You can't leapfrog that. But the benefits are there. Dr. Mantanga's objectives, Dr. Mantanga has an objective, and they're valid, to be able to identify how to determine if we are providing employable students. And his objectives of determining how your relationships are with your employers are equally capable and available and possible. If we invest in technology in the right way, if we take the right approach, the opportunities are immense, both in the way we're teaching and the way we're receiving the data about how we're performing as a region or as an institute. The opportunities are immense. And at the end of the day, we can be really confident that that minute and a half that we endured at the start of this session, we're not sending our students into that. And that minute and a half that we had to endure as an employer, we're not consuming that. And as an institute leaders and institutes, we can be sure that we are saying that we are delivering students who are work ready. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tim Bergmeier, for the keynote address. I now invite Tuan Haji Zaihan bin Shukri, Director General, to present a token for our appreciation to Mr. Tim.